Hi.
Hey, how you doing? How you
Good.
feeling?
Uh,
What's going on? Thank you for joining us on a Friday night because you're on the East Coast. It's
yeah.
8 p.m.
Yes.
But I appreciate your time, Jordana.
Oh
I'm
my.
happy to reconnect. It
Yes.
feels like forever.
I know.
Uh, you reached out to me, I believe, maybe the summer of 2017. I don't even know how it all happened, but you were very persistent. You were very blunt, and you knew what you wanted, and you did it. And we came together, and we did some wonderful things. We did an event,
Yeah.
and then I had the opportunity to be in your book. It Can Be You,
Yeah.
by yourself. But before we get into the details of how we met and the whole concept of your book, just give the people listening and who will be watching, who is Jordana? Where are you from? And how did this all happen for you? Because I believe you were raised in Brazil, right? Or you were born
Yeah.
in Brazil? Yeah.
Yeah. No. So first, yeah. I mean, I definitely was it because I saw just how much beauty you bring to the world with like your voice and what you're all about. And I remember like learning about you on The Bachelorette, but then seeing so much more to you as a person. And I'm like, I want to know this person because for me, it's all about like people. And I saw that you were the same way. So that was why the persistence came. But I was born and raised in Brazil, in Rio. My parents were born in Egypt, and my ancestors come from Tunisia. So I'm quite a mix. But growing up with all of these different cultures and heritage, I think because Brazil, there's so much poverty, it always like bothered me as a kid. So like growing up, I was always like, I can't wait to get to a day where I can really give back in a big way. But yeah, that's where I'm from.
And when did you come to the States? So you say you were born in Brazil. When did you move to America?
I was 13 years old. And I remember I didn't speak a word of English. It was like super tough. But I was 13 and I learned how to speak English through like reading CD lyrics back. I'm aging myself, but it was the CDs with like the lyrics. And
Yeah.
for actually funny enough, TLC, I was like obsessed. I know actually to today, every word to every song. So I learned a language just by reading music and reading books. But yeah, I came at 13.
At 13, and so did you come with your mom and dad? The whole family came over to America? And
Came with the whole family. And then when I was like 15, 16, my dad did some unorthodox things and he kind of disappeared. Um,
mm,
Mom raised me and my three sisters on her own. She's superwoman for sure.
hey, mama.
Yeah,
So are you the oldest, youngest, middle child?
I'm the oldest. Yeah,
Okay, got it. So you set the tone. You the
yeah.
trendsetter.
I'm the oldest and I'm the rebel. So I don't know
Got it.
what tone I set, but I was always a rebel in the family because I always knew what I wanted. I'm very strong headed. Um,
Yeah.
so I think, yeah, but yeah.
You guys came to New York, right? Did you locate
No,
in New York? Got here? Where were you?
Florida.
Okay.
Right now, I'm in Boca Raton, Florida. I'm in Palm Beach. Um,
Okay.
we came here, and then after that, I went to New York, and then I moved to California, then I moved to London, then I came back to New York, then I went back to Florida. So I was always like a gypsy at heart, as my family says.
Yeah, I think that's the Gemini because you're a Gemini in you,
I,
right? And I think we did your life path number, life path 5. Freedom, loves change, curious.
yeah,
Yeah. You've been all over the world. We love it. So diverse, well read, well versed.
yeah.
Uh so, let's talk about I think it was so before you knew the show I was on or you saw me, what were you doing prior to you and I connecting and building a rapport to do, events and put on opportunities and be a part of your collab and it could be you. What
Yeah.
were you doing up until that point
It's
in your life?
crazy because man, like since I met you, so much has happened, but my whole trajectory just started getting in PR and marketing because, yeah, I just, again, my love in this world is for people. And I feel like through PR and marketing, I got to meet so many people, travel to so many places, help so many people grow, scale their business. Like that was always my passion. And I think that one thing that really drove me is that I see You know, sometimes I think people overthink the key to success, when in reality, if we just are open to what our mission and purpose is on this earth, like things just come, right? It naturally gravitates towards you. I'm a big believer in manifestation and all of that,
Yeah.
right? But I think, you know, I'm firsthand, like, I mean, for 15 plus years, I was a solopreneur. I traveled around. I was able to like live the life that I wanted to live. And through everything that I would do with PR and marketing, I always wanted to give back. So I would like give to like Make-A-Wish, Give Bones, bowling. I would always have something that I would give back to. And homelessness is something that affected me from when I was like 2, 3, just because for some reason, I think it was something in me, but I would see like people on the streets in Brazil growing up. And I remember from the age of 2, not knowing anything of anything, I would turn around to my dad and be like, Dad, that guy looks like he's cold. Let's buy him a blanket. Dad, let's buy this guy food. Dad, let's. It was something that like I want, like it was something that really like spoke to me. And so later in life, you know, as I like developed PR and marketing, met a lot of people, I was like, now I think I can help with my community. And then I'm very fortunate that it just kept growing. And now with the book coming out at this specific time, which it took a long time, as you know,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
it like, you know, I feel like momentum and timing is everything. So yeah.
Yeah, and you know, you have such a humanitarian spirit, right? And consciousness that you want to give back. I always say the secret to living is giving.
Uh,
And the more we give, the better we live. Because when you accumulate so much, at some point we all gonna leave this earth. You want to give what you have because it's not enough to have it if you can't share it. And I think with you, you are always persistent on not only giving, but getting things done so you can give to something or someone. And for homelessness, you know, you talked about growing up, you know, in Brazil with your dad, you know, getting someone food or water. Where did the interest or the intention spark where you wanted to kind of get in the space of helping the homeless, getting their story, and doing your research to kind of create the foundation of It Can Be You and coming up with the concept? How did that come about?
So it's really interesting, actually. I actually grew up as a child in a very affluent household, but because of that, I saw the contrast of having everything and literally walking out of my apartment and seeing people that had nothing. And as a kid, it bothered me. I was like, why do I have all this stuff and this person is like sitting here and it's like just asking for water? Like I don't know, it was something that really bothered me. And also because I was growing up in an affluent household, I saw a lot of fighting in my family. I saw a lot of like, unhappiness. I saw things that weren't great. So I always had this like really weird relationship with money. Actually, I would say till about like 3 years ago, I finally realized that just because you have money, it doesn't mean that bad things have to come with it. You can actually make it be good things. But because I had this like bad relationship with it in the sense that I like all of a sudden was like, you know what? I don't care about material things. I don't care about money. I want to work for free. Like, who needs it? Like, I just had this really weird but growing up and seeing that and seeing the contrast, so like, and because from when I was also like a teenager, even now, I was in Brazil a few years ago. I'll walk down the street and I would see someone who's like homeless on the street. I actually sit down with them. I remember there was a mom sitting in front of a bank in Brazil with 3 kids, and I was waiting for a taxi, and I saw her, and I'm like, I want to talk to her. Like, why not? So I just sat next to her, and I'm like, hi, what's your name? Your kids are so cute. We had like a half-hour conversation. And I actually, my taxi got there. I just let it keep going. I was going to get another one later because I was really having a great conversation with her. And a lot of people are like, you're crazy, like for sitting, you know, you don't know if this person's going to have like a boyfriend, who's going to have a knife, who's going to nah, nah, nah. But they're all people. We're all people. We're all things. So, you know, for me, it was just, I think it was growing up with so much, seeing people that had nothing, finding that really unfair, and knowing that it was not about how they grew up. They didn't, a lot of them, they don't have the choice. It's just the circumstances sometimes gets them in that position. And then as I grew up and I decided to go on my own and start like working and stuff, and get my own place and whatever, I had many moments where like, you know, because I was young and like foolish, I would spend all my money and then rent would come up and I'd be like, crap, I have zero in my account. What am I going to do? But because I had family to bail me out, I was able to make those stupid choices. But what about if you don't have family? What about
Mm-hmm.
What about, you know, there's so many things that we take for granted that we think everybody has, but not all of us have that. So, you know, because I've been through many of those, and that was just one thing that happened, but there's been many moments in my life, even when I got older, that I had to leave everything behind it because I made a bad life decision. But again, family bailed me out. So going through all that, I think it's unfair the stigma that's out there because of homelessness. I think if we all like really, really stop and think of our lives, we've all made a mistake. We've all been in a situation of uh-oh. And whatever got us out of that, not everybody has that same thing to get out of that. And not everybody has this strong mentality or mindset to
Yeah.
dumps and get back up. You know, so I just think people have to really think twice before they ignore the homeless and just give them compassion. The moment people start to empathize and have compassion toward the homeless, the more they're going to want to help. If they keep the stigma, the negative stigma, and they think the wrong things that are not true, they're not going to want to help because they have a false vision of what homelessness means. So really that's why I put the book together.
Yeah, and I think, you know, perception is most of everyone's reality based on how we see it, how we interpret it. You know, you see someone, so you automatically go off what you see and not what you know, and you judge them. And I used to work downtown at a nightclub as a door guy, and I used to have a homeless guy come over, and I know he was doing drugs and he was, you know, doing things he shouldn't be doing, but he was always genuine. And he always would tell me, he's like, man, bro, you just so good, man. You're so good to me. You got good energy. And I always would ask him, say, you want something to drink? You want some pizza? I would just go, because it was at like in a basement of a bar in downtown LA. So I was at the door and I would just go get him water, get him pizza, just make sure he was good. And the powerful thing about giving him attention and giving him energy, in return, he wanted to give me something. He tried to get people to come to the club. Hey, it's my boy right here. Come in. You know, he would, and he was like, man, he said, sometimes, man, people walk past me, they don't even acknowledge me. They don't even, they act as I'm not even a person. I'm not even there. And he started crying and breaking down. And it was sad because I'm like, I never thought of it like that, right? Because I'm not in that position to see life from his lens, from his perspective. And one thing, anybody that's going to listen to this and everyone's watching this, I had a teachable moment one day. Um, So one of the homeless guys, I guess he had got some money for something like social services. I don't know. He had got a little bit of money. He was like the beginning of the month. He's like, man, it's my boy. Like, let me buy you a sandwich, man. You know, like, and at this time in my life, I'm probably like 25, 26. It's hard for me to receive still. I don't know how to receive from people. And I'm like, oh man, it's cool. He's like, come on, man. You always give to me. Come on, man. Let me. You know, he was just like begging me to like, I want to give to you. So I was like, guy, man, can you go to LA Cafe? And I'll take a chicken salad sandwich. Come back, and he gives me the sandwich. At the time, I have a boy at the club trying to get a job at security. He's coming up the stairs. Mind you, I'm out in the front. So the guy comes back, the homeless guy comes back, and he gives me the sandwich. And in that same instance, like the law of circulation, the law of receiving and giving, he gave me a sandwich. My boy, I was trying to get a job, he gave him $20. And in that moment, I learned the power of receiving, right? Because I would want to give, but not receive. And, you know, there's an equilibrium of having both. So I say all that to say your spirit of giving has allowed me to receive from you to give me a different perspective on what homelessness is, right? And to understand it could have been me.
Yeah.
It can be whoever's listening. It could be anybody.
Yeah.
But if we're not living from that perspective, we don't look at it like that, it doesn't affect us. And so I think it's important for people not only to know about your book, but to know about your cause and to know about what you're about. And that's why I asked you earlier, this might actually a more personal question, or do you have problems with being seen? Because I had a vision this morning, bestseller, Billboard, New York. Like I get these visions. I'm like, you need to be seen in a way where not for accolades, not for success, but for your message, for what you've been through, so people can feel it, so they can understand what homelessness is. Even in the guy in the book or the girl, whoever that person was, I wish I knew their name, because one thing I loved about the story that I got compared with, like, at least they went for it.
Mm-hmm.
At least they tried.
Totally.
You know, like they took the chance to believe in something greater than themselves, and they didn't make it. But that's better than just sitting still.
100%.
You know?
You know, it's so funny because, and I have a really like special announcement to make at the end of this. It's actually the first time I'm going to announce it. I was thinking, I'm like, do I say it now? Do I wait? But I think it'll be a good time to say it because it's just super cool. So your vision is interesting, and I'll tell you why later. But I will tell you this, like I had a really eye-opening moment. It was about, so right now I'm running a business with my husband that's like skyrocketed, like thank God, and a lot of persistence, a lot of hard work, but it's 3.5 years in. And when we started the business 3.5 years ago, we were putting money out, and money wasn't coming in because it's a new business. And we have two babies, and we had two babies when we started the business. They're 4 and 5 now. They were 2 and 3. And I remember it got to a point where we were 3 months behind in rent. We're like, what the hell are we going to do? So literally we decided we're like, the only thing that we can do right now is just leave everything behind, leave the place, leave all our kids' belongings, leave all of our leave everything behind. We literally each took a small suitcase. We lost everything that we built in 2 years with the babies. And we went to Brazil and we lived with his mom in a 1-bedroom apartment for 8 months. And it was so bad that we, like when we had to buy bread for his mom's house that we were staying at, we didn't even have money to buy bread in Brazil. So his mom gave us money to go and buy. It was a really eye-opening experience. But we believed so much in this business that we were building that we're like, no, we're going to make this happen. We're going to go through whatever it is that we have to until we get back out on top and go back to the States. And I remember one day his mom gave me money and I went to go buy bread, and I got there, and even though it's the only money I had to buy bread for like my kids and everything for breakfast, there was a lady in front of me. She went to go buy bread and she asked for 4 loaves, and the guy said, oh, it's this much, and she's like, take one out. But in that moment I didn't hesitate to be like, no, 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 I'll pay for that fourth bread for her, even though I knew it was going to be one less for me. And I'm not saying like, oh my gosh, I'm a hero for doing that, but I'm a big believer in like, it's a current, right? We all have to help each other, because the moment that, and I've always been like that, but after 8 months of really struggling and going through like probably one of the hardest things I've had to go through, especially with two babies, because I'm responsible for two of their lives. We got back out on top. We came back to the States. Instead of going back to New York, we made the decision to come to Florida because it's cheaper. And we built our lives back up. And now it's 3.5 years into the business. The business is doing great. We are in our house. So I just, and again, I don't think this just happened to me. I'm sure there are many
Yeah.
people that start things, that this happens to. So I just think we all have to think of one another, because you can help someone even when you don't have. But when you do that, when it comes to a point in your life where you really need something, the universe will bring it back in like threefold. I've seen it happen, so many times.
And just to give the people context, what year was that when you guys moved back to Brazil? It was like
It was
2018,
2000, let's see, 3.5 years. It was 2018, 2000, yeah, end of 2018, and we stayed till like middle of 2019. So not so long ago.
Wow, so recent. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Congrats. That's
Thank
big. Progress equals happiness. And he always say chances make champions. But it's important, for all of us to go through some type of resistance to teach us about life, about ourselves, and to character build, right? Because you get to learn something about yourself that you probably didn't know. And I think sometimes when we shy away from the resistance or the pain, we even get more of it, or we can't really level up our life,
you.
right? We can't springboard to the next level. And coming to LA 11 years ago with $1,000 knowing one person, I had to figure things out. I wasn't always in front of the camera or I was always motivated and being positive, but it could have been me. You know what I'm saying? Being homeless. And I wanted to feed off of what you're saying. We got to know that giving doesn't always have to be monetary.
No.
Giving can be your energy.
Uh-huh.
Giving can be a listening ear. Giving can be eye contact. Giving can be saying hello. I think I was at Starbucks a few weeks ago, and I
I
think
think,
the young lady ringing up, I was just like, I like your nails. They're really nice nails. And like, she blushed, but her whole energy changed. She's like, thank you. I needed that. Like, I was like, yo, those are nice nails.
yeah,
But little nuggets like that can change the course of someone's day.
100.
So thanks to you, and it can be you and your project. It's opened my eyes to homelessness and everything I've done in this space, because it makes you think. Let's talk about the fashion. Is it innovation?
Yeah.
Yes, innovation, right?
Yeah.
How did that all come about? Because it was like fashion and technology, and where did that all come from?
You know what's
Kind of
crazy?
drop in a bucket.
No, and this is the crazy thing. Now we're like in partnership with the United Nations. We work with like, we've had speakers like Steve Madden, Kenneth Cole. It's crazy how it exploded. And the
Yeah.
craziest thing is that we've had now 600 CEOs and founders speak on our platform, all cold emails, cold
Wow.
emails.
Oh yeah, you told me about it in New York. Yeah.
Like crazy, right? And like the craziest thing is that people are like, how, like in 3.5 years now, like we've become like a reference in technology and sustainability, and we don't come from that world. But the reason why I think honestly we've grown so much is because we started with the why. Why do we do what we do? Why do we build fashion innovation? We didn't start with the what we're offering. We didn't start with the how we're going to offer it, but why are we doing it in the first place? And I honestly believe that is the only reason why we've gotten to where we are, because when we sent a cold email to Steve Madden, we literally in the email we're just like, our purpose is to democratize the fashion industry, to make it inclusive so that everyone is part of the conversation, and we think that you can inspire globally. And when you think about it, like when that other so Steve Madden is probably used to getting all these emails from a ton of people that want him to speak, but they probably all come to him in a way. They have a hidden agenda. They want them to say something certain or something specific, where we really just want them to be themselves. And this is another thing with fashion innovation. In a sense, we're humanizing the fashion industry. Like with the book, I want to humanize homelessness. And this is why I said in the beginning, I think we overthink things sometimes. And I think the power of change comes from the human connection, the real human connection. That's so important. And like, it's so simple when you really think about it, but it's not so simple to think about. As like, it's weird, but it's so easy. Like what we're doing now, right? I'm feeling so much energy from you. Like when you sent me the message when you got the book, it made me so happy.
Yeah, I was happy.
Your
Actually, we're right here. I was happy. You sent
your
me to
enthusiasm, just like total.
it
But
can be, you know? Like I was so happy because like these colors, the art, the energy that's vibrating, I was like, wow, I didn't even know you had this photo. I was like, I'm so glad I chose it, like it's just the energy that I felt because for me, it feels good to be a part of something that has meaning behind it. I try to live my life with the intentions of legacy. You say you don't hustle for your first name, you work for your last name. Because, that's why I have books and I read a lot and I write and I think because I want to just to be more than just a name with a face who was on a show, right? I want to be an entity, an energy, a vibration to help the universe evolve, heal, and have awareness around things like fashion and technology, have awareness around homelessness and the perception behind it and the stigma and how we can change it. Same with suicide prevention
yeah,
and all these things that I work with in mental health, that we have to stop looking at it from how it's perceived instead of get in and perceive it from what it really is.
100.
Because there are people just like us,
Yeah,
and I sometimes as influencers or celebrities or people in higher power, the masses sometimes forget that they're people too.
they're just like us.
And
Yeah,
they have feelings and they go through things. Yeah, so you put
totally.
this big old red carpet and you roll it out and you get they had to wake up, they had to use the restroom and bath, like it's all relative. So it's just people just gotta like just wake up just a little bit more and realize like, hey, I got feelings too. I struggle, I suffer. It's not always easy, but guess what? I have a voice, I have a platform, and I have something that I've been gifted with, and I'm gonna give it to the world as much as I can. And I think that's what you have, Jordana. You
100.
know, and that's why I think you're persistent. You keep going and you keep pushing because you believe. You believe more than what you can see. And I feel that's faith. Most times people believe what they see. You believe what you don't see that can appear.
Yes.
That's faith, and I think that's important.
And I
And
see
that
a lot in you.
it's beautiful.
No, 100%. And I see the same thing in you. And honestly, it's funny you said the whole thing about we all wake up, we all go to the bathroom, because a few days ago I met with someone like with a very high stature and I was really nervous. And my husband was like, don't be nervous. This is what you do. When you go see that person, just imagine them and I'm sorry to use this word, imagine I'm shitting in a bathroom and then
Right, right.
I'm gonna be fine. And then
Yeah,
now, and then
that's the realest thing ever.
oh,
Because I have a conversation with my cousin about that. Is that whole cancel culture and celebrity this, followers that, engagement that. Listen, when we turn these cameras off, we gotta go back and look at ourselves in the mirror.
yeah,
Forget what the Forbes list say, the stats say, how many rings you have, if you're married, if you live in a. Hey, guess what? You got feelings.
yeah,
You got emotions, you hurt, you cry, you got pain, you're a human being. And so we always got to realize that no one gets out of life without wounds, right? Like no one gets out of life unscathed. Like you're going to get some wounds on your
yeah.
soul.
Otherwise,
you
you're not
know,
right.
yeah, it's like, so
Yeah,
it's important for people to, not only gain perspective and awareness, but be open to something different.
yeah,
We're like eating the homeless, or going to events like the fashion innovation, and getting a book like It Can Be You, Humanizing Homelessness, and doing your research on your company and yourself, because we need more conversations like this, because this is humanizing our thoughts and our mind, because
100%.
we don't know what's going to happen 6 months from now, a year from now.
Especially
So
in the world that we're living in.
So can you speak briefly on what is it like being a mom? Because I think when we met, you was even born with your first child, or you were just
Yeah,
about to have it, I think, if I'm not
yeah,
mistaken.
yeah. Now I have a 4 and a 5-year-old, which is crazy.
Yeah.
It's amazing. It's the best thing in the world. I wouldn't trade it for anything. It's a lot of work. It's a
Yeah.
lot of ability. But at the same time, you really get to mold. I'm a big believer in impact. So like everything I do with them, even when, something small, like they'll have a bite of an ice cream and then they'll be like, I don't want it anymore. And then I'm like, guys, before you ask for something, make sure you really want it, because there are people that are hungry and they don't have that same ice cream. So even though they're 4 and 5, I already say that to them. And the same thing, like, with toys, when they have like, they get too many gifts, I'm like, okay, let's look at things that you're not playing with anymore. Let's give it away. So like you can really create like little people that will become bigger and they'll be able to, make impact as well. So that's
Yeah.
super. But it's
That's beautiful. Now, that statement is that a slogan? Did you tag that or coin that in one of your
now,
books, website? Because no, hear me out. You said make sure you. What did you say? Make sure you want something before you ask for it.
yeah,
Something like that. What did you say?
yeah,
That's what you said, right? And so basically, I think that rings bells in all genres of life and all things, because most people want success. They want love. They want happiness. They want fulfillment. They want money. But if they never had it, they don't know what it takes to get it, or they don't understand what it is to have it.
yeah,
And then get it, and it's not what they really want.
yeah,
So that is very intentional of you to tell your kids that at a young age, because that's putting in their mind, their subconscious, that like, do I really want to eat right now?
yeah,
Do I really want this job, or I'm saying I want it because it sounds good? Do I
ex-
want to be married? Do I want to go to college?
yeah,
Because when you come from that place of, I feel like you're just thinking out loud, you live a more clear life.
yeah, totally.
Because when I was working in corporate America, and I was working for like big corporation as a manager or whatever, we would have a break, and at your break, you go on your break, you have food. And then I realized when I quit the job to work for myself, I had all this time because I was trying to create a new life. I wasn't really hungry as much as I thought I was. But on a job, they make you and program you to believe that you should eat when it's lunchtime or break time. So a lot of things that are given to us or how we operate is from a program, from
Yeah,
something we've been conditioned on. And I just love that for your kids, because that makes them more aware of
yeah,
what they're asking for, and that everyone doesn't have the opportunity to ask for anything.
yeah.
You know,
No, totally. And even like my 5-year-old bought a sweater a few days ago and then she loved it. And then the second day she went to school, I'm like, it's cold, put a sweater on. And she's like, I don't like it. I'm like, but you just bought it yesterday. She's like, everyone in class told me that I'm wearing my mom's sweater. So then I looked at her and I'm like, are you a leader or are you a follower?
ah,
I was like,
I
you're a leader. You're a sweater and be like, it looks good and I don't care what you say. If you're a follower, you don't wear the sweater. It's up to you. I
yeah, yeah.
that, and you could see, I mean, she's only 5, but she looked very confused, but it made her think for a minute. She didn't wear the sweater, but still, like, you
Yeah.
know, because I think so that's the fun part is really you get to create these little humans, and you know what you put what you teach them is what a lot of it is going to be their influence when they get older, you know.
Yeah,
It's amazing. It is, again, a lot of work, and it definitely changes your life. I mean, I live for them now. That's my,
yeah.
you know.
You got. I always say, if you can, you should have offsprings because later in life you want something to live for.
Yeah,
If your career or profession doesn't keep you busy, and over my time, like I have three nephews and a niece, and what I discovered from kids don't respond to what you tell them; they respond to who you are.
yeah,
So, my nephews, for instance, he doesn't like eating his vegetables, right? So his dad or mom would FaceTime me to get him to eat. Like, they go, Uncle eat. But, the energy I would give him and the charisma and then to get him to think, he would eat it.
yeah.
But at the same time, I realized it's not because I'm his uncle, it's because of who I am. It's like, because I'm like, I'm going to have some with you, nephew. Like, it was a good Uncle E. Look, I work out. Remember when we do the push-ups together? That's what happened. You do push-ups, you play the game. Like, you got to give them a story, a narrative to make sense to their psyche for them to be like, yeah, you got tired in the basketball game. Remember, you didn't eat your veggies. You got to eat the veggie. It's like they start thinking like you know it, like you made her think. Like, are you a leader or you're a follower? So it's important to like give kids the gift that we got or didn't get as young adults or young children. And I'm just happy for you. I'm proud of you, Jordana. You've been so consistent. And even when you reached out to me, I don't even know. I think he's like, did you ever get the book? And I was like, no. And he's like, you didn't even say anything. You just took action. And then like 3 weeks later, I got 2 books in the mail. And so that's one thing I love about you. You're about that action. You taking action. I'm going to,
Well,
okay, cool. What's your address? Done.
no, and
Done and done, you know?
I have to tell you, so like a few things of the book that I have to mention. Then I'm going to tell you a really cool like surprise that I think you're going to love. I hope you're going to love. So one, the book could not have been published. It couldn't have come to fruition had it not been for Susan Rockefeller, who actually came on board as a partner when she found out about the project and helped me fund the entire publishing deal. Without her, would not be here. So she's amazing.
Susan Rockefeller, who is that, by the way, for too many of us who don't know?
Susan Rockefeller is the wife of the last standing Rockefeller from the Rockefeller.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
How did the connection come
Yeah.
out? Like, that's great. Right.
So super grateful for her for that. She's amazing. She's so humble, incredible. And then the cover of the book was actually an artist, Jason Naylor, who's really famous for like street art in Manhattan and Brooklyn. You see his stuff everywhere, all about love, positivity, hope, incredible. So that was the cover. And of course, the 47 influencers yourself made it happen. It wouldn't have happened without you guys. But the one really cool thing that I have to share is that 30% of all the profits of the book are going to Help USA, which is actually the organization in New York, and it's run by the Cuomo family, by Governor Cuomo and his family. The really good news is that 2 nights ago, I was in New York and I met for dinner with Maria Cuomo, who's the sister to Governor Cuomo, who's Kenneth Cole, and she's a filmmaker on top of everything else that she does. And she said that she wants to create a docu-series on the book. Is actually going to LA in about a week, and she wants me to introduce her to a few people that are in the book, aka you being one of them. And she's gonna already be with her filmmaker, and they want to create a movie, docu-movie on the book. So it's super, super exciting.
Oh, yeah, I definitely want to meet him because as soon as you said it, I got visions of. I love
You're
that's one of my favorite things.
You're 100% gonna be in that.
Documentaries, docu-series
Yeah.
because it's so raw, so real. It's in the moment. Yeah.
Fun. She wants to get the stories. She wants to dive deeper into the stories, and then it's gonna be amazing. So the first time I'm saying it out loud, so I'm super.
Yeah, congratulations. That'll be broadcast on every platform.
Yeah.
From Instagram to Spotify to Apple Music to Google. It's gonna be on YouTube. So hey, you guys be out for It Can Be You docu-series. By the way, I was curious. So the people that were compared in the book, I noticed they didn't have a name next to them. Do you have that contact, or do you keep in touch with some of them? Like, what's the history on the people? Did
Yeah.
they get better? Did they become? Did they get back on their feet? I'm just
So
curious.
this is the thing that I couldn't do. So I did it all on my own, and I didn't have the funding to really help them get out of I sat with them, I gave them a meal, I gave them a pair of socks, and I got a street team and we got their stories. A lot
Right.
of them don't want photos taken, they don't want videos, they don't share that much personal information. There's one video that I was able to capture that's on YouTube of a
Yeah.
homeless that's pregnant in the in the what is it, in New York City at the Port Authority. But a lot of people, they don't want to give that information. I do have the locations where each story was transcripted. They could still be there, but I don't know. But that's why I really, that's why Help USA for me is somebody that I'm hoping they can take that second step, because I
Yeah.
want to create like the awareness. And then I want to be able to not just stop at the book, but get these stories going, put the stories on a platform, continue to bring voices like you and other influencers that have a platform to uplift their voices. And then when I do get their stories, be able to be like, hey, Help USA, I just interviewed this person. This is their story. Can we help him and his family, or can we help him? So that would be the ideal scenario. But I didn't have all of that like put together when I wrote the book, unfortunately.
Well, I always believe, at the right time, the right things happen, and if you have somebody on board who wants to do a film, I think that's just going to transcend and really take it to the next level,
A hundred.
where in the minds and hearts of people in the world to know that it can be you, but at the same time it doesn't have to be the way it is, because I've met homeless people who love their lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
Some
There.
of them just, they don't want responsibility. They like the assistance they might get from government or a housing, whatever, but they do deserve acknowledgement when you walk past them. They do deserve some type of attention. They're people. So
Yeah.
I think if you shift the paradigm through your lens, through your perspective, about homelessness and humanizing it and getting people to understand a real perspective on what it's about, maybe we can have more compassion and grace throughout the universe, and maybe that can transcend in other worlds and other countries to see what it's about, what is it about being homeless, why people are homeless, and our views and perspective on it. Because maybe there are people who are homeless but they're happy. We don't think about that.
No.
Then there are people who have homes and are not happy. So I'm
Yeah.
not comparing. I'm just saying it's all perspective, and it's time for us to kind of like pull the curtain back and kind of look from a different eye lens, and it's important. So
No.
thank you.
Yeah,
You
no,
know.
thank you. And I'm like really excited because I couldn't think of a better person. I mean, I knew of her, but when I met her 2 years ago, I was really impressed. She really has a huge heart, and she works with a lot of different foundations, Help USA being the primary one. But just the fact that she wants to invest in creating this film and doing it all like, herself, possibly bringing Susan Rockefeller because they're friends and she's also a filmmaker. So that would be amazing
Yeah.
to have the two of them come together in that. But regardless, I think like putting that in a visual way where people can watch and see people speak and hear stories, and have that comparison in a visual setting, I think will be really powerful. So I'm super, when she told me, I was like, I literally only flew out to meet her because she was actually texting me and going after me, like, hey, I want to create this film. Hey, I want to create, like, it was crazy. I was like, oh my gosh, I got to go and meet with her.
Yeah.
So super cool. And I have really big visions for it. I'm bummed that I didn't get to put the attention on the book when it came out that I wanted to, because I had to put time into the business because I have to feed my family in order to keep doing these things. So it was
Yeah.
like, but now luckily we have a team, so I'm going to start taking some time to fully focus on the book, because we've sold about 360 copies so far, but
Uh-huh.
I think we could do so much more. And I think
Yeah, for sure. And you can do something like affiliate marketing.
yeah,
You, you can give people like links and do like little discount codes to swipe up.
yeah,
Um, do little 15-second or 30-second videos, put some ads behind it.
yeah,
So many things you can do, because even with my book, my intentions were to sell 100 copies in a month, right? So I did that, and then I sold another 100 copies. But it was all just constantly on, Instagram,
Yeah.
boom. But once you get that momentum and people buying,
Yeah.
you feel good. And then
Yeah.
the marketing strategy, the sales thing is it takes people at least between 7 or 11 times before they really pay attention to what you're posting for them to
Yeah.
kind of like
And as a
buy
coach,
it.
you've done a good job at posting enough. And this is
Yeah,
why I'm grateful to you, because this actually has, like, I told our COO at our company, I was like, I need 2 days a week off to fully focus on the book. And
yeah,
I do that, but you pushed me when
yeah,
I get a message, I'm like, no, like I can't stop, I can't wait anymore. And that's when I like booked my trip to New York. I met with her about the film. I'm doing this with you. And I'm like, this is the time. And I can't, like, of course I still have to work, but this really has, like, it's really important. This whole thing is really important. So, and I appreciate you so much for that, because your excitement really like you're a very special soul, in the sense that when you say something, it
yeah.
it really comes from your heart. So I appreciate you so much.
Because it's like, sometimes to be honest, to be transparent, sometimes I'm so much in my world that I'm not aware of the things I've experienced or done. Because, in this town, in this world, sometimes it's all about, okay, what's next? And then that really triggered me in a great way and say, man, look at this, man. Like, like, look, like you're in a book with something that has meaning and a cause behind it. And so it made me appreciate the connection we built, the timing we built it, and for me to put the time and energy into it, to have it, to say, I have, nephews, I have relatives, I have people that I love to say, listen, this is someone that from Baltimore, or I grew up this way. It could be you, it could have been me, but I kept going. So let's not take nothing for granted. Let's not take ourselves or people that are homeless. Give everybody respect, love everybody from the kindness of your heart, and show up. Because Jordana, that you are a true example of showing up, being authentic, being persistent, and
Yeah.
doing what you think is best. Thoughts become things. You had a thought, a vision, and now you brought it to fruition, and now it's going to be global.
Thank
And that's why I said the vision I got this morning. I'm like, because yesterday I had an interview on live, and uh, the lady's name is Gina DeVee, and she talks about being visible and about being seen. And when I see you, I see bestseller. I see you in a nice business suit, smiling with your book. I
you.
see you billboards in New York. I see you having a talk show. I see you coaching and motivating and having a charity that helps homeless people get back
Thank you.
into life, into living. I see you getting them counseling and therapy. Like, I see these things, I feel these things, right? I'm very like empathic, and I don't know. It's just like your name and just your essence and where you come from, what you've been through. And so I just want to say I'm thankful for you and all that you bring. And I just want you to know you got what it takes to get where you want to go. And it might not happen right now, but it's going to happen because we're speaking on it.
Yeah.
And what we speak, we reach. And so I'm just honored to kind of just have you here and just talk and catch up, because it's been so long and
Oh,
my life changed a lot in different ways. But I'm understanding my purpose now. I know my purpose here on earth, and I
yeah.
know I'm here to transform lives, and I'm a messenger, and I'm here to help people heal and evolve, and also shine light on authenticity and be transparent. Like, do we suffer? Yes. Does things get tough? Yes. Like, everyone has it, this microwave success, and it's easy, and it's like, no, like all those books back here, I probably read about 80% of them. But when people see me, like, oh, you're amazing. Like, how much time I pray, I meditate, I work, I do a lot of work to present myself so I can help people in need. But at the same time, it works when you're working.
Oh, I have to
So,
say, you're amazing, really. And everything you said, I took it, I accepted it, and I totally believe it coming from you. I really do. You're talking, and I'm
yeah,
like, okay, now I really believe it. You have a way of doing that. And
yeah.
I definitely, we shouldn't just wait for another opportunity to do this, to keep in touch. We have to keep in touch more often, because
No, sure, because I have another vision. My visions keep coming through because I
yeah,
know you are. There's an agency called Scouts Agency. So they send me a lot of podcast guests and interviews on IG Live. And it's women's based. You should look it up. I know the owner. I interviewed her. Her name is Scout Sobel. And I don't know if you want to run PR, but I think you should go on tour and do like 15 the 20 podcasts and talk about your foundation. Talk about It Can Be You. Get on a local news station in New York, LA, like get it out there again. Like let's reboot it.
But you know,
Use it in a book and do
I'll
a post,
throw
you
out,
know?
throw out a vision to you, and then I know we can keep going, but we'll do. I'm gonna throw back out at you. I don't feel like I should be the only one interviewed in a book. I feel like all of it, everybody in a book should. So I
Yeah.
think like what would be super cool is getting these press opportunities, which I have the press contacts. I just have to go after them. So going after them, and then let's say one of them picks it up and they say, I want to do an interview. Instead of me doing it, I could be like, hey, for this interview, Eric Bigger would be perfect for it. For this interview, let's put this person here. I could do a few of them, but I think it's a collaboration.
Oh
And I
yeah, for
doing
sure. Yeah, I'm all for it. I'm all for it because I believe the older you get, this book just put things in perspective. I don't care who you are. It's gonna make everyone like say someone like Shaq sees this book. Just never know what the impact it'll have on someone like that. Like people need to know about the book in such a meaningful way.
thank you.
But great. Just want to say thank you for being here. Is there anything else we should know about? Whatever social platforms are you on? How can people reach out to you? What else are you working on? Any new projects outside of the documentary? You got the business with your husband. You got the kids. Anything else? Where can we go get the book? That's another.
So the book is Amazon.com. Amazon
Yeah.
or Apple, but Amazon is quick, it's easy. Um,
Yeah.
Amazon. And what I want to do actually, so like as far as like anybody can reach out to me. I love talking to people. But what I would love to do is anybody watching this that wants a copy or listening after to the podcast that wants a copy of the book, the first 5 people that send me a message, you could just DM me. You don't have to follow me. Just send me a DM and be like, hey, I listened to your podcast. I would love to send a book as a gift. Actually, it's something that I've been doing. I have like boxes of it at home. So when I go to the airport now, I take a few in my bag and I'll just walk around randomly and then I'll see somebody and I'll be like, oh my gosh, this person looks like they would like the book. And I just feel it. I'm like you. And then I go up to them and I'm like, hey, I just wrote a book and I give you a copy. And they're like, okay. And then they take it and it starts conversation. This book is supposed to be a conversation. So I would love to give 5 copies away. And yeah, I would just love to. Oh, there you go. So Deanna Volk actually bought one of the books. She says she has it in her coffee table book and that she loves to design and she tells everybody to get one and she just put the link there. So thank you, Deanna. But yeah, I honestly, like, this is such a pleasure. I really adore you as a person. I think you're amazing. And thank you so much because you really just inspired me again. And now,
Yeah. Oh, it's miracle season. But Anna, come on. Let's do it. What are we doing?
let's go.
The moon, are we?
But thank
I love it. Oh no, I get inspired by things that touch my heart that mean something to me because I know what it's like to feel alone and I know what it's like to be lonely at times. So I can only imagine someone who at times doesn't have the mental fortitude, how I can break them down and they just want to give up, right? And so if I see something where I can add my energy or my value, I want to lift it up and give people perspective. Say, come on, man, let's all donate. Let's all get a book. Let's talk about it.
yeah.
You know. So thank you. This was amazing. Let's keep in touch.
Let's keep
And husband, I said hello. Hug the kids, the little ones. Hey, and yeah, and I'll share this, and it'll be up in the podcast space sooner than later, and I'll let you know. But thank you for your time. Thank you for your energy. I know it's getting later over there on the East Coast, so I'll let you go back to your family and be great. And let's continue to connect and evolve. So
Yeah.
thank you.
Oh, you're amazing. Thank you. And I cannot wait for the movie with you in it. And yeah, planning some things in New York. We're going to see each other soon. So I'm
Yeah,
super.
New York. I love New York. I haven't been in 2 years. I got to get back.
All right. Awesome. Nice to see you. Thank you,
All
everyone.
right, have a good night.
You
Be
too.
safe.
Bye.
Jordana Gurumatis, It Can Be You. Get the book. Get the book. I'll share this. The link will be in my story. To all the listeners of the podcast, thank you for tuning in once again. Follow her at I am Jordana, Jordana, Gurumares. I hope I said that right. Guimaraes. All right. You guys be great. You be safe. You have a beautiful weekend. Be the best you can be. love yourself unconditionally, and don't look down on anybody that has less than you, especially not homeless people, because we got to humanize and develop a different stigma and conversation around being homeless. That's all. That's it. Bigger Talks, IG Live episode is complete with Miss Jordan. Good to marry us. I see and talk to you all soon. Be great. Peace.